This is Drop Tent Media Network.
All right, we're chilling still here with our friend Liz. We're going to bring her into our huge with the podcast. We came in hot and heavy talking about how death shaped you, but you're still a sunshine and rainbow person. You're just realistic, secret asshole, self-described.
Yep.
Kirsten, do you have things you want to lay to rest? You want to talk about?
Blatant asshole.
Yeah,
I think. I was just
Is that what your doctor calls it?
Yeah.
When you get your colonoscopy.
Yeah.
It's late. Yeah. I do have a couple things. Do you have anything?
I have something I need to lay to rest.
Okay, please.
It's just been driving me nuts, and maybe it's an age gap thing, and maybe I've said something similar to this, but when people gender neutral use bro, dude, or bruh, is driving me insane.
You can just call me out directly because you know I call everyone dude.
I hear you do it, but like friend to friend.
I've never heard you do it.
Really? Yeah. It's chronic.
Really?
You're not as bad as you think you are.
Okay.
I'll give one example of something that happened this week, and this is frustration separate.
Okay.
And I've told this story on a different pod, but I'll say it to a different degree. I texted my little sister about we're in a family group chat trying to make plans for a dinner, and I said, we all live in different states. I said, what time is the dinner? What day? Confirming for Friday. And she said, bruh, chill out. And aside for the chill out, just the bruh part. And like one of her friends greeted me in that way too, with like a bro. And like, I'm not one of those people like the respect your elder regardless, but I'm just like, respect another person. And I hear people like say to their girlfriend or boyfriend, like when I partner or whatever, I see a lot of like straight men like saying it to women, like, bro, why would you just do that? Talking to their girlfriend, like it's a little old fashioned, I guess, in my thinking of it, but it is driving me insane. And I think Josh, my boyfriend, called me dude once. And boy, will he never do that again.
So also we're gonna later rest Josh. He's no longer with us.
That dude gone.
He lived a good life though. I feel like he's lived a good one. I don't
it was the best. Yeah. And I hear it on stage. I was telling Liz I watched a comedian who I think is funny, but like filler word was dude. I hear so many guys in Philly do it when they're just talking. But the like, bro, stop. Like when you're talking to a partner.
Yeah.
Driving me nuts.
So I agree with bro. I will say I am 100% guilty. Anybody I am dating, anybody who I will say dude a lot. I say my dude, like thanks, my dude, appreciate it, whatever. I am definitely guilty of that.
You always add a reason why we can never date.
I know. I'm saying
I need a little more rounding.
Another every day is a podcast.
Another reason why Jamie and I know people want it. It's this will they won't they thing.
It's on the Patreon.
Yeah, right.
Patreon's a different version of the podcast.
People. It's actually on FanDuel. The odds are insane. Who's gonna cave first? It is crippling. I can't stop. But bro, I do agree with, and I do agree that I would feel weird if it were at me from somebody I were dating.
Yeah, like even if you're telling a story like, bro, that's crazy, I'd be like, who? Bro? Because bro is essentially brother. And like, I don't even like saying guys anymore.
Folks.
And not gender, like, I don't even know for me if it's like gender related. It just seems immature. And there's so many words to use.
Yes.
So when someone says bro or dude to start or finish a sentence, I'm like, just have a tick like a normal person. Just have a regular stutter.
Right. Just say a racial slur and grow up.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
I get bro. Yeah. I think also what makes me very mad is people going out of their way to type out bruh, B-R-U-H, because you are intentionally trying to be cool or funny.
Yeah.
That's what the text of it. My little sister's text was. She typed out B-R-U-H in a text with it was a family text thread. I obviously immediately called her and was like, bruh, I'm not going to see you at this dinner because you're going to be dead, bruh. I was like, bruh, I was like, who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Immediately called her is so funny.
Well, because I was like, hey, I'm trying to get these plans. I know our brains work so different and you're go with the flow and maybe like your schedule's a little bit more lax. For me to give up a weekend night, bruh, I got to plan this in advance, bruh. Trying to figure it out, my dude. It just seems disrespectful. I think that's what it comes down to for me. I'm like, I get being casual. Everything flies out of my mouth. But if it's someone I don't really know or I'm not comfortable with, or it seems like an undermining thing, like it's like when you walk, like if you were like, oh, excuse me, sorry, and someone's like, sorry, dude, and you're like, I regret saying sorry. I regret respecting you because you do not respect me.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah.
It's all situational because like I've also started a sentence where I'm like, oh, dude, like, and then a sentence like that, but I'm directly addressing someone being like, what's up, dude? Like, blah, blah. Like that I could hear myself do. Yeah. Like use the filler or directly saying it to people needs to be laid to life.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of it as not a little sister thing. I think it's a respect thing.
Sure. Okay. Absolutely.
I met a couple of her friends recently, and like I don't know, like the 10-year age gap. They're 22 now. Really hard time pandemic, end of high school, beginning of college.
Amen.
So the respect level for people they do face hacking, very formative time.
They're real cats.
So they're very like it's disrespectful, like, and nothing was taught. I met two of her friends recently, and I told her later, I was like, hey, I found this behavior really bizarre. And she was like, well, they're just, and I was like, yeah, you can make an excuse. I'm just telling you how that interaction made me feel.
Yeah. Bruh.
Sure.
What if it was Miss Bruh?
Honestly, I'll take a ma'am over a bruh any day of the week.
You're like, Miss Bruh's my mother.
Yeah.
Just call me Bruh.
Ms. Bruh.
Ms. Bruh.
Yeah. There's I'm like, you've never touched a surfboard. You've never been relaxed once in your life. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, but what if I always walk into a room like this? This is my most used emoji. My phone tells me every time. This is my most used emoji. Wow. I'm trying so hard to prove to people how relaxed I am.
I'm so chill.
Terminally chill, baby.
So relaxed.
I think mine is pink heart, red heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
This
that's a good one.
And check.
Yeah. That's a wholesome, well-rounded vocabulary.
I got all of mine. Please, please tell us that later as well.
Sure. So
okay,
which is I have not walked into a coffee shop in the last 4 years without feeling like I'm interrupting a board meeting. I
was in someo's meeting recently.
Thank you.
Standing in line, and I realized he was on a conference call, and I was like, sorry, does my left butt cheek look good in the background of your video?
I was in multiple cafes in different parts of this country in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
And even in Philly, saw this recently where people are bringing second monitors.
No.
Yes. Multiple monitors, the keyboard that's different, the thing that holds it up.
Bring back shame. Be embarrassed.
Be embarrassed for once in your fucking life.
Right.
I'm like, I cannot. Remember when you used to be able to go to coffee shops and speak? Now, if you go with a friend to catch up, everyone's looking at you.
Right.
And it's like,
sorry, I got to circle back on this.
Right. Yeah. I think what drives me crazy is because I've been trying to I wrote this down as a premise, but I have not written the joke of it yet. But overall, especially as somebody who has always had a job where before everyone worked from home, that's always been my life as a comedian and as a writer. Right. And so coffee shops used to just be people hanging out.
Right.
And then me working in them. And since the pandemic, my whole thing is you all fought so hard for work from home. So fucking work from home.
Go home.
All you want to do is be home, then fucking go home.
Yeah.
This is not your space.
Yeah.
This is a coffee shop.
Turn your video off. Mute yourself.
You don't live here.
The last job I had right before I quit, I did a presentation from the zoo. And I had myself muted, and then of course the second I unmute, some guy was right behind me going, "A monkey, a monkey!" And I was like, "Oh, sorry for the background noise. I'm in a cafe."
Rainforest,
right? Yeah.
Specifically,
to be fair.
Yeah, so that's
a good one.
What I want to lay to rest is this is not. If you want to work from home so bad, you got it. Go the fuck home.
The meeting in public is tough because even as someone who did have an office tech job, when someone you could tell was at a cafe and they would unmute and be like, oh yeah, like I've been sending that to the client and the blah blah blah, and then you hear like, okay, latte for John,
and you can hear the coffee
like,
grinder in the background.
And then you hear people like a kid, a dog, obviously, non-service, very derogatory, and then you just hear it all, and you're like, I get you need to get out of your house.
Yeah, I get it.
Take the meeting even on the sidewalk.
Agreed. And also
your car.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just cannot stand, and I do have plenty of meetings and stuff that but I will always find somewhere that is respectful to do it. But when people are
one-on-one phone call, fine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Seeing people actually with multiple with a senator or with a separate mouse thing.
What did they have?
It will gets the power from your own computer. It's you know what I mean? But I've seen it.
The coffee shop second monitor, obviously.
Yeah.
This made by Apple.
I think I have one in my car, actually. I think I do have a second monitor.
I'm surprised Starbucks and Apple haven't linked up. Actually,
they go to the
Starbucks anymore.
Do you guys have a second monitor I could borrow?
Yeah.
An iPhone charger?
Can I have the Wi-Fi password and all of your internet and electricity?
I need to hardwire in
the keys.
Yeah, I'll be getting one black coffee and never again for the next 4 hours.
Yes, that is
Right.
So what
I see more and more cafes have you can no laptops. I've seen no laptop signs.
Or La Colombe has the no, they don't have public Wi-Fi. They're come in and you can use your own if you want.
What are those signs? The live, laugh, loves, but they're act like it's the 90s. Talk to somebody.
To each other. Okay, we get it.
And then you say hi to someone and they're like,
right.
Everyone looks at you. Yeah. It was in
the second monitor. Take a photo next time you see one.
Oldest moves I've seen in public. But I was at a cafe talking. I was at a cafe in Conshohocken meeting up with a friend, and we were talking about a series a sitcom that I've been working on for a couple years. She's directing it, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about next steps and pitch meetings and stuff. And we're in this coffee shop, and it's not necessarily sensitive information, but every other person in this room is working. So it is silent.
Right.
But all of them are taking out their headphones to listen to us talk because they're slowly hearing us mention HBO, slowly realizing what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then we're feeling uncomfortable. And so we're trying to talk
I would have
in
started saying crazy stuff.
Code. Right. And we're trying to talk in code and not be weird, but people are trying to make it they're not listening, but they're all very clearly listening to what we're doing. And because it's silent now, it's basically just she and I performing for this group of people.
Sure.
And she's the friend whose husband is, it's now public, but her husband is the new Superman taking over for Henry Cavill. So we're talking about that as well. And they live down the street. And she's it's all this weird stuff that is not a secret, but is enough that we don't need everybody in on it. And no.
And also and coffee shop, but I specifically stopped working.
Right. Yeah.
This person's conversation.
Yeah. And we're talking about okay, well, we need to do reshoots. We need to see. And so we're using secret names. We're not saying Jamie Wolf. We're Wayme Julf.
Jamie Pappas.
Jamie Pappas. Yeah. We need to get people's schedules. And at the end, and we were so uncomfortable because it was so quiet and everyone's looking. And then eventually some lady comes out to us who was in the back of the room and she's like, I heard you guys talking about this. She's like, my daughter, she blah, blah, blah.
Right. Someone came up.
Yeah, came up. She's some old lady trying to connect.
Right.
And we're we're actually she's like, maybe they could help you with cameras and stuff. And we're we already made it. We're in the, thank you, whatever. But it was she was in the very, very back of the room. So it was such a guaranteed, okay, yes, everyone was listening. And it just made me so uncomfortable because I was I now don't know where to just meet up with friends that isn't in a car, we're having a.
I tried doing that joke on stage. I haven't worked it out in a while about how I think when couples fight in a bar, they either have to leave or do it loudly enough for everyone to take sides.
Agreed, yeah.
And today, Liz and I went for a walk in the zoo, and at the penguin exhibit, there's those bench seating so you can watch the penguins underwater. And these two people were chatting, and I stopped to look at the one penguin, but also hear the story where this woman was the father of her kid didn't text for 13 years, and then out of nowhere he texts him once back in, and she was like, no, you missed your chance. I was like, how do you have the same number for 13 years to
right.
So I stopped to watch one penguin and hear that for a while, and I was like, that is more invested in me than hearing someone's business meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
That's I think too is like I think people think that like you're gonna get to overhear something
Juicy.
amazing. Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if it was a meeting, like you said, with sensitive information,
Right.
I would not be here. As per like these two moms talking in front of their toddlers.
Uh-huh.
They might say some wild s because they're out here.
Yeah. Right. And especially like Julia being like, who I was meeting with being like, because they just like they don't live in LA anymore. They live there in Conshohocken. And her being like, yeah, we just bought a house down the street, blah, blah, blah. And she's 9 months pregnant with super baby. And she's like talking about all this stuff. And like it doesn't need to be bad or scary, but like I know her life's gonna change drastically very soon, you know, in terms of like the safety of their kid. And us just trying to have a casual conversation and everyone slowly like doing the like pausing. You can see them like tap.
Well, and
or,
think
like,
about like the Conshohocken news.
Right. Right.
Like,
take a
that they live
headphone
in-
out. Yeah.
Since Wanda Sykes moved away from the main line, like there's not much celebrity movement.
I know
there.
they don't know what to do. So
Funny.
they're like, let's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Liz, do you have anything you need to lay to rest?
Yeah,
If
so
you-
mine is it's very specific. It's so there's this I send my daughter to a school, a daycare where there aren't a lot of gay families,
Mm.
but there's one and they're lesbians. And
The worst.
there's a me. Yeah, hate them already. So right off the bat, we're enemies.
Sad.
And totally. But there's like a me in the relationship,
Mhm.
right? And I like want her to acknowledge, hey, what's up? Like, you know, I want to be friends.
What do you mean a you? Like a
Like short hair, butch,
Oh,
lesbian
okay.
in the relationship. And we saw each other on the train.
Did you exchange the secret handshake?
No. Like,
What's up, Butch?
she, I think, like pretended that we didn't know each other. And I was
This
just like,
town ain't big enough for the two lesbians.
Uh-huh.
yeah. And so I just wanted to be like, did you also get a Father's Day card from school? Like, I'm like,
Did they really?
yes, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
Did they just address it to you or you?
No,
and Karen?
they like didn't address it to anyone.
Sure.
It was just
Oh,
sort of
my.
vague. And I was like, you guys are so like,
At my school, I do a joke about that. My school
Yeah.
made me make a Father's Day gift every year. When I was
oh, interesting. Yeah.
little. Because they were just doing it in school. And they made me- I said I don't want to make one
Right.
because we were making ashtrays. And I said the joke I do is that my dad didn't get cremated. Like,
Uh-huh.
But I was like, yeah, I always wonder.
Right.
They're trying to do too much.
Normalize.
Okay, so
Well,
you
yeah,
wanted to be friends
so
with the other dad.
I want to be friends with the other dad.
Yeah.
And I saw her, them, I don't know, on the train, ignore. And like, I really was like pushing it harder than I want. I like was trying to sit next to her and
Yeah.
like not next to
Yeah,
yeah.
I sat on her lap and I
Right.
thought that was fine. But
We're gonna cut this whole story, Liz. It's getting worse.
But then but I was kind of nearby because I'm like, well, maybe she'll like acknowledge at some point. She was taking a phone call that fully sounded like a board meeting. And I was like, ugh, boring. But then at some point she gets off of that phone call. And then I was like right there. And then she says because it was New Jersey Transit. So like, obviously there was like some kind of delay.
Sure.
And she's like, another great day commuting. Right. And I was like, and I think I laughed more. I don't find that joke funny.
Yeah.
And so I pretended, which I thought was
Supportive.
a kind, supportive
Yeah.
Open mic on the train. I get
friend.
it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I saw her on the first or second day of school at drop off, mild acknowledgement, but I wanted to be like, hey, it's me from the train and also from last year. Like, what's up? Why aren't we friends? And so what I would like to lay to rest is either the fact that we're not friends or her.
Okay. So the
Just
stakes
kidding.
are different. I would say.
I think she might be. I think this person might be someone that brings a second monitor to a coffee shop. A little self awareness, like especially as a parent, like as someone who nannied. I always wanted to be friends with the nannies of the kids who had classes with my kids.
Right.
Because I'd be like, hey, we are in the same situation, same scenario. God forbid something happens.
Totally.
I need contact with you.
I like friends. Like all the stuff that everyone's like, ugh, like who wants more friends or it's so hard to make friends as an adult. I'm like,
People who say that
I don't think so. I love new friends.
Yeah.
I really like
I like dogs more than people. Shut up. You have no social skills.
Huh?
Yeah.
Like, that's all I hear when I hear that. I'm like,
also like dogs being like, ugh, those are the worst people.
Yeah, that dog's like, please take this crocheted hat off of me.
I don't need Crocs.
Yeah, stop hand feeding me.
I'm not on a raw diet.
It's like the first person a dog doesn't want to kiss on the mouth.
Right, exactly.
How are you? So we're gonna lay to rest the situation. Would you ever go up?
Well, so
I'm also picturing you doing like a mirror exercise.
Yeah.
When I asked, like, when you said the me in the relationship, I don't know if you were like, maybe they work nights, like they are kind of travel a lot for work, or
it
like
was a day train because it was a day. I go to therapy on Tuesdays, and so I take the train in for therapy, which I would have gladly shared with her.
Yeah,
but she was on the phone.
I'm trying to think about what they tell kids like when they first start school about how to make friends, because I know it's often like a little gift or like sharing a snack or something.
Talk about your favorite animal, like
find out what their favorite animal is, see if it's similar to yours.
So next time I should go up to her and be like, what's your favorite animal?
I think a fun icebreaker.
Okay. It stinks that I always can't speak yet and tell you what their kid likes.
I know. Well, they're not in the same class.
Oh, okay.
They're in the same school.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's
different.
I'm going to say this is different. Not to knock your thing that you need to lay to rest, but I do think it's different. Because you don't have that one connection. If you're being a little homophobic, I'm going to say.
Always
you're
and
expecting
forever.
the other lesbian to be your friend.
Yeah. I totally am.
You would think fundamentally that you would want to be friends with that person.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's still a woman. I'm going to assume white.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like maybe she's
you
not.
have the
she's
kid
looking.
Connection.
Maybe if you were a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna dress up as one.
Dress up as like a rescued pit bull.
If you were a dog Halloween. Or a Subaru, then maybe she might actually be really interested.
With a flannel around both.
If you were a carabiner with keys on it.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe she'd be
no reason but a Home Depot apron on.
No reason. Yeah.
That's tricky. That's frustrating because you're like, okay, I want.
Yeah.
I just want.
Producer and friend Neil Wood here. Brief commercial break.
Hey, hold right there. Don't dare skip this. This is an important message. Me and my boy Albert Davis, we want to tell you about our podcast, Seriously Dad. Albert, why should they listen?
Because it's the best podcast in the world. It's by two comedians who are dads, and you know what we're talking about? Being dads. It's called Seriously Dad. Check us out on social media at Seriously Dad Podcast and
anywhere you get your podcast. That's where we're at. We're funny. We got some great guests coming our way. We cover the topics you want to hear. Check us out.
Yeah,
I just want to be friends.
Well, it feels like the thing of like you're on a show with like 8 guys and 1 other girl, and you assume like camaraderie, and then you find out like, oh, they're like the I want to be the only one or whatever, and it's like
that sucks. I can think of many examples right now. Right, like that. Yeah, I'm just like I am not awkward. I don't think so. I really think that like
you are.
Awkward is like you have to call yourself awkward. Like
sure,
like,
and also as I say that, I'm like I've definitely been awkward. It's not that I'm never awkward. Whatever.
I don't think
I'm
you
just
are.
saying, I think like I am not afraid of going over and be like, hey, I see you from here. But there was such energy where she was like, I don't even know you, that I'm like, I guess I'm not going to do that. But I'm like, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of a train conversation. I'm not afraid of like talking. Like if somebody's on a plane and it's a red eye and it's like, you know, overnight, I don't know that I want to talk.
Had she not been on the phone, would you have approached?
No, because she was like very clearly looking away from me, like where I felt and walking away from me. And
avoiding,
I was like, like I'm not going to be like completely unaware of those types of cues, which I did perceive that I was getting.
Is it possible that she's afraid to run into you and fall in love with you?
Listen, I mean, I'm open to it. I doubt it.
Thank you for throwing in another lesbian
Is it possible that she's afraid?
But if she's worried about you want to ask about swinging,
right? Yeah,
she's like,
she probably thinks
lesbian couple meet lesbian couple on.
Yeah,
She's like, we could become a more power couple.
Yeah,
Right.
she's waiting for you to be like, I love your vibe. We've
I
been
think
noticing
there
you.
are people that are like, I don't need to be friends with someone just because my kid like is involved with their kid.
I guess, but like our kids aren't even involved, and I'm just like, whatever.
Maybe
Yeah.
she thinks you're stalking
Snooty.
her because she's gay.
Possible. Could be.
Snooty.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
That is
speaks fluent
a
English.
good late arrest. The people like that, you know, they're aware of you. Like, there's no way she's not aware.
Right. That's the part. I'm like, what? Like,
I think we talked about
Yeah.
this with someone where they came up to me. Like, I'll introduce myself. I don't mind. But there was someone recently that was like, every time they'll be like, oh, make me reintroduce myself every time.
Right.
And I don't think it's a power play. I honestly think they're dumb.
Yeah.
But I just like sometimes when I have that happen, it discourages me from continuing to do it.
Sure.
But there's something about the intense energy of acting like you don't know.
I know. Like where I really was like convinced that maybe she factually didn't.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe out of like Josh told us a story where he said someone talked to him last night and he's like, that's the most they've acknowledged me in this setting.
Right.
But when I saw them in a different setting, they were like, hey,
Mhm.
you're so-and-so. But then anytime he sees them anywhere else, they don't.
Mhm.
So like maybe she needs the context. So, like I know you're saying the
guess.
body cues were like
No,
not
I
in your
know.
favor.
Well, one time I went to a chiropractor he's a very good chiropractor, very renowned.
Mhm.
And he was good. One thing that was so hilarious to me and interesting is that before he did anything, he gave me a pamphlet and had a speech about how he has the disease where he cannot recognize people's faces.
Mhm.
And so he's like, hey, nice to meet you. Just saying, if I see you at the supermarket, I may not recognize your face.
No.
And I was just like, what has happened here in this chiropractor room and at the supermarket for that matter, where this rises to the level of like a preamble before we've done any stuff,
as a
especially because a chiropractor, because
Right.
he's seeing my back.
Right.
Yes.
That's what we call
And so-
the preliminary PR
I
tour
only-
where they
I
they
only
already
recognize people by their back.
That's what the thing. Yeah. Like, what is he gonna? But anyway, maybe she has that. I don't
like
know.
spine curve to the left. I know Liz
Ah,
but from behind anywhere.
Yes, Liz
I
Glazer.
know
Oh
that
wait,
spine
no,
anywhere.
it's the one from the mayor's
Is
office.
that
Yeah.
Elizabeth M. Glazer? That is a good later S. Did you have
Yep.
something you want to bring back?
Wow, I did have a resurrect. And it is
Oh, I needed just a quick side bonus late arrest. I need to late arrest my I always want other people to be open-minded and all these things. I realized this weekend that I was in a place I don't like going, Boston, and my attitude
Wait, but mentally,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
also that Boston.
yeah.
I was in a bad place,
That's
Boston.
what I call when I'm depressed.
yeah.
A
Yeah.
bad mental state.
I was in Boston and-
Massachusetts.
know what it is. Like meh is the same I feel as when people say ghost sports. Like I don't have to outwardly say the bad things are happening. I know they're happening. I
Yeah.
need to just accept it, and I need to just have the best time I can
Mhm.
and laugh about it later. I walked into a public restroom, used the restroom, came out, washed my hands, and this woman was like, "Oh my god, cute pants! Where'd you get them from?" And I was like, "I think American Eagle," and she goes, "Interesting." Walked away, and I was like, "That's how I feel every time I go there." So I need to late arrest me doing the thing that I'm trying to not do.
Sure.
Like the open-mindedness of the like,
Yeah.
I know the bad thing. Just fucking get a grip. Sorry. What are we bringing back?
Interesting. That's
Mhm.
a crazy way to respond.
Just
about
like
American
call me
Eagle.
poor and walk out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. And you like them before I told you a label. You're wearing a visor indoors also.
Uh-huh.
Goodbye.
I think it's like a funny kind
Interesting.
of person who just has like a hard opinion on American Eagle.
Yeah.
Right.
I also say I wasn't positive. We were also in a mall.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mine are, as they often are, phrases I want to resurrect.
Oh, fun.
We talk about
This
this
needs to be a segment.
a lot where I think about, I always, with our last guest who was a dad, I was
Yes.
saying how,
Is
because
his
I
dad?
don't, because yes, you are her dad. I didn't grow up with a dad,
Yeah.
and neither did Jamie, but based on a lot of sitcoms that I would watch and
Sure.
watching other friends' dads, like phrases that white dads say
Mm.
when they're upset. And I think that, and I've been writing a joke about like the hierarchy of how upset a white dad is by what they say.
Okay.
So there's 3 new ones. Last time I talked about take a hike.
Good
Oh.
one. Good one.
Yeah. I'd like to add to the mix. Show's over, pal.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
Cool your jets.
Yeah.
and Pump the Brakes.
Oh yeah,
that one I'd love to bring back. Pump the Brakes. Yeah. Anything that I can say to not curse.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So those are my 3 new ones. Show's Over, Pal is one I'd like to start.
Right.
I'd love to start using organically. I might throw it tonight.
Yeah.
But the show, there is
a good way to play.
I mean, there will be
show.
a time that the show will be over, so it would work.
Pal.
Yeah.
Is pal like bruh or dude?
I think pal is the same. Yeah.
I know.
You're saying it like to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like chief or boss.
Yes. My uncle will call servers chief and it drives me.
Oh, man.
Nuts.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, just say the racial slur and move it.
Yeah, just say it.
Yeah. Just like, can I get another beer, chief?
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Well, I'm so sensitive to that being Kirsten because people often forget how to pronounce my name, and so they'll do anything to not say it.
Sure.
So they're just like they're throwing in one sentence. They're throwing in 1,000 different ways. They'll be like, "What's up, Queen?
Yeah.
Hey, girl boss. Oh my goodness, it's so good to see you, babe."
I just was looking back at my. Also, this circles back so far back in our conversation.
Yeah.
But I think Neil, maybe you sent it to me as well. But if you look up, like Broadway Comedy Club Greenwich, like all of them, because if you perform there, you're on their website.
I know exactly what you're going to say about your name. Yeah.
My photo's up there, my name, but it's Giannis Pappas's bio under it.
Oh, hilarious.
So it's like the inverse where it's like my name, my photo, and then his bio, which like talk about racial slurs.
Hilarious.
That is a
crushing though. Great bio.
Sure.
Yeah.
Show's Over, pal is so good.
Yeah.
Because like I'm picturing you like going out, like we're going out to dinner and you're like, well, we get the check and you're like, show's over, pal.
Show's over, pal. Yeah. The dream scenario would be like saying it in a time when like somebody, like we're having like a heated conversation, you and I, and then people are gathering, right? Or something. They're all eavesdrop. And then like I say like a cool, like a Goosebumps walk away line. I say something awesome. Everyone watches. And then I turn around and I look at all the people who are looking and I go, show's over, pal. And then I leave.
Yeah.
That would be like the
It definitely seems like a collection moment. Like you're
in a coffee shop.
Yeah, right. That would have been a perfect time to use it.
Yes.
And Pump the Brakes. Dads love to say when anyone's getting too excited about something, which I don't love because I know that they're trying to bring you down to reality. And I think it's fun to just let people dream.
Yeah.
But I do think it's fun when people are like, we could do this and this and this on vacation. And then some dad is like, okay, pump the brakes, pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Right.
They really, dads bring you down the vibe.
Sure.
Yeah. Kind of like what
mine did ultimately.
Yeah, right.
Brought down the vibe of my whole family.
Like
it was like, oh, if I take the longest of hike out.
Yeah, take a hike. Yeah.
Lizzie.
There were these chicken nuggets. Wait, what did I miss?
I said polio.
Oh.
It's controversial.
There were these chicken nuggets. They'll probably kill you too.
Yeah.
I remember from when I was a kid, I'm sure they were racist and terrible for you, but they were like these Chinese McDonald's chicken nuggets. And they were amazing. I'm vegetarian or pescatarian, but like, you know, so
there's no way this was any actual meat. So you're fine.
Yeah, it probably would have worked. Yeah.
But they were so good. And I don't remember what they were called or whatever. But if you search like Chinese chicken nuggets, 1983, 4, 5.
McDonald's.
Didn't they have like an Asian sauce, like a dipping sauce?
Well, they have sweet and sour
McDonald's.
sauce.
Okay.
80s.
Are you're saying Chinese like they are like Chinese food, like General Tso's kind of
Shanghai nuggets?
Shanghai nuggets. No.
Yeah, they were.
Wait, look at
so good.
click the second one in. You know?
No, yeah,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
that
They're
font.
the most,
No.
Take a taste
also
adventure.
the first one, look. Or is that just in Asia? Maybe.
A taste adventure.
Take a taste adventure.
Yeah, they were so
Not
good.
the chopsticks.
They
No.
were so good. You have no idea.
Wait, Oriental sauces.
Did they give
Wait,
you?
no. Read the bottom. Free McFortune cookie.
McFortune.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Liz,
I
they
would
look
give
good.
anything
They were so good.
to read my McFortune
That's
right
so
now.
Funny.
Maybe somebody online has a recipe that you could
I'm
like,
sure, right?
Yeah, because I just remember that the breading
Mhm.
was such that it was like very delicate, like really, really good.
And they were like tossed in the sauce, we're saying.
No, I think it was on the side still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there any current Chinese food you could compare it to? One of a kind.
No, it's like I've been
This
searching
is
for
so
that taste for
uniquely
most of my life.
Chinese.
It is so, it's hard to hit that
This
peak
is
of your life so
incredible.
early and realize there's nothing that's going to beat that.
Yeah.
It is funny because they like could bring it back with any other name.
Yeah.
With any other marketing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they, they do that. Like, I feel like sometimes I go into grocery stores and think the signs are like the most racist, dumbest signs I've ever seen. Like,
right.
Just how it'll be like baking needs, utensils, Mexican. And you're like, what the fuck? And then it's like whatever the grocery store deems, quote, Mexican.
Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes you go in and you're like, what? And because it'll be like pasta sauce, canned goods, Asian. And you're like, oh, this whole continent fits into this. And
well, they
like,
put international sometimes, and it's just Asian and Mexican.
And Goya cans.
It's Goya. It's Goya cans, and it's ramen. And they're like, you're basically overseas.
Like, careful.
Are you jet lagged from how far you just traveled?
You need a boat to get to aisle 4. Grocery store signs. There's something like my bringing back is like something about like being honest. Like, I think like everyone's like so nervous to be about what they're saying is like, maybe it just comes back to like, I was just like having a conversation and like, maybe it has to do with my little sister too, where like, it just feels so difficult to talk to some people now where like everything could be a landmine.
Right.
Like I'm just like, and I know can be harsh and crass, but I feel like talking to some people has become so like, I've talked to you about it before, and you've said this about like miss like using the wrong pronouns or just like
school,
even that, or just like anything where you're like, no one has ever like no trans person has ever, or a person like using different pronouns
uses the phrase, did you just assume my gender? Like that's a thing
or
that Republicans make fun of, but it's
me.
never happened.
Like, just like a gentle nudge of like, oh, use these pronouns. Oh, my bad. Will you keep it moving? Like versus like, if I were to bring up this grocery store conversation to people that aren't ready to face that, like we can laugh about that. It is hilarious objectively that the grocery store goes, there's no Italy aisle. There's pasta, there's sauce. We're not claiming, but they will claim Mexico to an entire aisle, and it is not Mexico.
Yeah.
Or Mexican for that matter. It's ground beef seasoning. Grow up. But like we can talk about that. Like I feel like there's some people in my life I couldn't bring that up to without them going silent and think I'm going on some brown soapbox. Where like, and then they get nervous, so they don't say anything back to me, because they're like don't have something to say back. Oh boy,
I have been like working on a premise recently about how, because people always ask like, when did you start comedy? And I say how I went to college for acting, so it was a pretty easy transition into performing. And people go, did you start doing comedy at theater? And the answer is like, no, there's no, say with love, but there's no group of people who can take a joke less than the kids who went to theater school. No, I did not start doing comedy in theater school. I have never done a show for even close friends who have come to see shows without somebody leaving upset with something another comic said or something and making it my problem.
Well,
it is like just the way it is. And these are close friends. I get it. It's just such a different world.
And comedy's so looked down upon. Like no one's like auditioning with comedic monologues. Like,
I mean,
they're trying to more and more, but it's like when you're saying like you're an established theater actor, no one's like, I did. Well, I can't even think of something that would be considered fully comedic without some moral like behind it. Like
there's like comedy, there's like noises out. These are like comedy bearer plays, but like
then when you go to a play or a musical and you're watching it, and like the audience is like a big laugh, like
love
the
it.
dumbest like commuting traffic type thing, and then the audience uproars, and I'm like, always like, is this what we're considering a joke, or we know this kid has really sensitive feelings, like we're uproarious laughter. That's so interesting.
Everyone wants it to be like
people probably get offended when you say that.
100%, but it's also like I'm still a theater kid at heart, obviously, but like I very much like, most of the people in my life, most of my close friends are queer, trans, like artists. And so like, I very much have to adjust the way that.
Am I the minority in your friend group?
For being straight? Yeah, it's fucking embarrassing. I would keep that shit to yourself.
Honestly, it is embarrassing.
I tell people you're gay because I'm embarrassed to say that.
I will I'll say that I called Josh out for not listening to our podcast because he complained about being cold. And I was like, that is like my biggest ick is a man saying that he's cold.
And you were like, aha, you don't listen. Because if you listen to episode 4.
26 minutes. 26 minute mark. I went on a men should not be cold or tell me.
Fellas, it's gay to be cold.
Well, then he guess he girlfriend. And I was like, perfect. I can be Kirsten's friend now.
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah, no, I think like when my little sister looks at me because she's someone that just graduated art school, that she looks at me like an ancient relic of like yesteryear, like a 1950s kept woman.
Eating Shanghai nuggets.
Yes, with my chopsticks.
Oh my God.
Just getting beat by my husband.
Yeah.
Wow, what a time.
Wow, this has been great.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. This was such a great combo.
Anything you want to plug? Yes. Anything you want to talk about? How do you feel about death after this conversation?
I feel happy that we had the conversation and very grateful for this time that we were all alive and here having the conversation. Neil and Neil's assistant included, and that it's recorded for the future for forever after we're not here.
True.
And I can be found if you Google Liz Glazer, have some fun with the librarian and the woman who died of AIDS and the mayor's office, Liz, but also you can find me at my website, dearlizglazer.com. You can follow me on YouTube. That's like really what I'm thinking about nowadays. But it's all Liz Glazer, Lizglazer.
Cool. And if you Google Liz Glazer and you see anything about one of the other Liz Glazers, just hit those 3 dots and then hit report on the side. And then slowly they will all go away.
Yeah.
Cool.
Report everything. Get that SEO up.
Yeah. Well, I
Is
think
there anything you need to talk about or plug?
I have nothing to talk about, nothing to plug. And happy almost 9/11. Never forget.
Yeah, we should touch on that after the second towers hit, but we should. It is your trauma anniversary.
It is. Yeah,
we could talk about it another time too, but just want to dedicate a little space to your trauma, which is now 2 of my best friends and my niece's birthday.
Thank you. Yeah.
But not a fun day probably for you to look on your phone and see.
No, a lot of people text me on that day.
Wow.
I always prefer the ones that are just jokes. People will text me like happy birthday, like whatever, like how are you celebrating? But yeah, when people send
plans. Where are you spending 9/11?
Are you crashing into something tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, hope you have an explosive day.
You're the bomb. Love you.
These are great. Not a great day, but always a fun day for jokes. Maybe I'll do one of those jokes tonight. Maybe I'll do one tonight. Since my mom will be there. She loves them. I always joke when I do those sets that like it's her trauma and her story also, but I have the microphone. So I will be the one getting all the credit for it. So everyone's going to look at me being
such a good line that you give your mom that grace versus I just call them like, my dad's dead.
Yeah. So I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Today's September 10th. Tomorrow will be September 11th.
Yeah.
And they will be listening to this
soon.
Next March, I bet. Because we're so backlogged with episodes, which is great. And follow us on Dying Up Here. Is it just at Dying Up Here? Or is it Dying Up Here Pod on Instagram?
Should know that by now.
Great. It's Dying Up Here Pod.
I'm saying that to myself. I'm like, you'll find it. You'll find it. It's our little yellow logo, yellow green.
And watch Liz Glazer's Don't Tell taping.
Oh, yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube. Liz is blowing up, people, so you better catch her before she starts being an asshole to everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Hey, producer Neil Wood, subscribe now to the Dying Up Here podcast at Dying Up Here Pod on YouTube. And make sure to follow Kirsten and Jamie on all the stuff. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Hey, how you doing? This is Neil Wood, one of the co-owners of Drop 10 Media Network and who helps run Biggest Little Comedy. You can check out all the other stuff we do at drop10.com. We've got podcasts, live comedy shows, and so much more. Go over there, support your favorite podcasts, follow them, subscribe. We appreciate it. Again, we're 100% DIY, just a bunch of creatives trying to make it in this, and give us some feedback. We always enjoy a little feedback. Thanks.
This has been a Drop Tent Media production.